dreading and hotly anticipating getting to this point, but oh man. Like even when I knew what was coming, I still wasn't ready. Like let me just say right now, this point forward, it's all first time watches from here. All of it. I only got as far as the rehabilitation training arc and finishing off the first season of the show before I had to stop. And unfortunately, I didn't get to see this when it was out in theaters, so yeah, needless to say, watching it now, I get why it's now one of the highest grossing anime movies of all time. And I understand why this scene in particular broke a lot of people mentally. As in, making everyone cry whether they were a boy or a girl. Because it is just one of those scenes that goes down in history for being one of the saddest that you will ever see. However, before we get to the obvious, we do have a lot to talk about beforehand. And like I said in my previous review, this review is going to be spoiler heavy, just like the arc reviews have been, to try to keep it all consistent. Now, I'm also more than well aware that there is an arc version of this movie in the show. And it encompasses, specifically, if I pull it up here for you, specifically episodes 27 through 34 of the actual show. And from what I've heard, the only real difference is that the arc gives more backstory on Rengoku than the movie does. Aside from that, I'm pretty sure it's the exact same events. So, because of that reason, I'm only talking about the movie, not the arc. Because I cannot sit through that scene twice. Like, I can't. Like, just once has broken me more than I ever thought I would ever be. So, I'm a very emotional Jackson Small. Welcome to my review of the Demon Slayer movie Mugen Train. Let's start with the overall synopsis with bullet points and everything, just like we do with the sagas. So, let's begin. Tanjiro, Inosuke, and Zenitsu meet with Rengoku on the Mugen Train. Then Tanjiro asks Rengoku for knowledge on the Himekami Kagura, but to no avail because Rengoku himself has no knowledge of it. Or at least so he says. Then that's when a giant demon appears, only to be immediately slain by Rengoku's flame breathing. I don't know if the dub calls this annoying fire or agonizing fire, I don't know. Like, he speaks so quick that it's really hard to tell what he actually said, but it's his first form, flame breathing, that kills this demon. Then Rengoku and the Slayers end up finding another demon a few carts down on the same train. Then Rengoku slays this one as well, using flame-breathing, rising, scorching sun. It's just as cool as it sounds. Then Rengoku agrees to train them, and they all end up taking a brief nap to recharge, which it actually turns out that the conductor who had punched their tickets was also under a blood demon art that was on the ticket puncher, because he was under the influence of Enmu, the big demon of this movie. Well, one of two, but we'll get to the other one when we get to the other one. I mean, specifically for this movie's main antagonist was Enmu, the final surviving member of the lower Kizuki after Muzan killed the rest of them in the previous arc. So, they all end up going to sleep and dreaming because of this blood demon art from the ticket puncher. Enmu traps all of them in their dreams, planning to kill them quietly, while he stands on the train just, boasting and doing normal villain stuff. Then as for the dreams themselves, Tanjiro dreams of his dead family, because of course he does. Zenitsu dreams of dating Nezuko, in character, and Inosuke of fighting the train, and he imagines everyone around him as woodland creatures. You make sense of that, because I can't, but it's freaking hilarious. And of course Rengoku of his dad berating him for not measuring up to what he wants him to do, even after Rengoku said he wants to become a Hashira. Then an underling of Enmu tries to infiltrate Rengoku's dream and stab his spirit, or whatever they call it, spirit orb, spirit core, that's what it is, spirit core, but fails and instead has her throat mangled, but does not die. Let me say that straight up front. None of these underlings that are under the control of Enmu, that are obviously humans, do not die. Just want to make that clear. But the female does have her throat mangled pretty good, because since Rengoku is a Hashira, he was able to unconsciously sense that she was messing around inside his head, and he immediately pins her up to the wall and mangles the hell out of her throat for it. Obviously, he didn't mean to. It was a knee-jerk reaction because of his instincts, but still. Then Tanjiro ends up becoming aware of the dream after he ends up falling in the river, and his river self tries to break his other self out of this dream, and he starts trying to find a way to escape it. With the help of Nezuko's headbutt, which makes her cry, which I'm never happy with. I never want to see my Nezuko sad. It's just always tough to watch when Nezuko is sad. But with the help of her headbutt and her blood art, her exploding blood from the Mount Nadagumo arc, Tanjiro begins to awaken. And then, after tearfully lamenting on what he's lost, running away from this false dream family, Tanjiro begins to slowly awaken from it. He runs to find an escape. Sorry, I got a little tongue-tied. Then the rest of Enmu's underlings try to destroy the Slayer's spirits, but also fail. One of them gets zapped by Zenitsu, and the other one gets chased out by Inosuke's wild boar spirit. Why Inosuke's is like that specifically, your guess is beyond mine. It is outlandish anime being outlandish anime. Then, after a visit from his dad, a brief one, Tanjiro manages to figure out how to escape and slices his own neck, killing himself in the dream, but it wakes him up and returns him to reality with no actual damage, because his spirit core wasn't damaged. Then, with him awake, Nezuko burns all the connection ropes for the other Slayers in Hashira, but only Enmu's underlings wake up from it. Then Tanjiro effortlessly knocks out all but one of them, the one that entered his dream and was actually touched by the bright kindness of his soul, and apparently also has tuberculosis and is a terminal patient. Yeah, that just... Stuff like that hits home, especially if you're someone who is or knows someone who's been through that kind of thing. So, once again, the show wearing that adult writing like a badge of honor. And after that, he ends up lamenting that his desire is similar to those of the underlings that he's knocked unconscious. He wants a pleasant dream. And he wanted more than anything to stay in that dream with his family and live on like nothing happened. But he knows that that is not possible because his family is dead and it would just be living in a false reality. So, now that the rest of the Slayers are still asleep, only him has been woken up so far, and that's purely because A, main character plot armor, and B, because he has the most resolve out of all of them. Not to mention Nezuko helped him out by giving him a sense of blood to pull him back out. But with them still asleep, Tanjiro ends up facing Enmu alone. And Tanjiro constantly resists Enmu's blood demon art, which is him continuously putting him to sleep. And it does work, but since Tanjiro knows how to escape this, he continuously slits his neck every single time he's back in the dream state. And he does it in the fraction of a second. Like, it is nuts how quick he continuously wakes himself up. And this puts Enmu on the evasive maneuver. Then Enmu tries to trick Tanjiro into a nightmare with his family berating him for not saving them. but that only severely pisses him off. Fueled by the rage of Enmu then disgracing his family's memories, Tanjiro decapitates him. However, Enmu doesn't die. Yeah, it's another one of those demons where even if the head's cut off, they are not dead yet. And he reveals that he has merged his entire being with the train itself. Meaning, everything that's attacking this train from here on out is his internal skin and blood. Like, that is both crazy and all kinds of fucked up. In all the craziest fucking ways. Like, such a cool idea to have him literally become the train. It only adds more to the tension because nothing like this has ever been pulled off before. And Enmu himself reveals that the only way that he was able to do this was because Muzan gave him that little bit of his own blood from the previous arc. Since he was the one lower Kiseki that was not massacred. Then Inosuke wakes up and Tanjiro explains everything, resulting in him boasting about being right, calling the train a monster. Just Inosuke being Inosuke, one of my favorite characters in the show for a reason. Then while that's going on, Zenitsu ends up saving Nezuko from harm after she gets caught up in the weird internal vein tentacle things. His warrior side currently on tap since he's still asleep. As Tanjiro struggles against this mighty foe and his very numerous tentacles and eyes, it is some freaking nightmare fuel. So obviously I love it, being a sick, twisted gorehound. Rengoku wakes up and immediately turns the odds in their favor by burning the entirety of this demon's internal insides as it tries to attack this train. Or at least eat the passengers in the train, since now it has become the train. Then that's when Tanjiro and Inosuke end up finding the neck bone, but they struggle against Enmu's blood demon art to actually get a hit in because he keeps spawning multiple eyeballs that put them back to sleep for a split second. Over and over and over again. However, the thing that Enmu did not count on was that since Inosuke is wearing that boar's head, he has no idea where he's looking at that particular point. So he can't actually put him under the spell, so it only affects Tanjiro. Then Inosuke saves Tanjiro from decapitating himself after getting sent to sleep so many times and thinking that he's still asleep when he's not, and scolds him for being foolish, because of course he does, he's Inosuke, that is normal for his character. Then the conductor, under Enmu's control still, stabs Tanjiro with a poison needle, or at least I think it's a needle, because it really doesn't look like a knife, it's like a really tiny pointy thing. Which is the same thing that the other underlings were using earlier to rip through the dreams to find spirit cores. But I don't know if they have an actual name, because they never even called them an actual name in the movie itself. So, I don't know. I'll look it up later and I'll correct it in the next review. So, not a big deal. Then, after a long battle, Inosuke manages to get all the flesh off, exposing the giant neck bone underneath the coal cart of this train, and Tanjiro finally finishes it off using his Hinokami Kagura, which finally kills off Enmu for good and actually chops off his actual head, which causes the entire train to derail and crash, and Tanjiro finds himself immobilized by the poison. But the passengers survive. Then with Rengoku's aid, Tanjiro uses total concentration breathing constant to stop the bleeding. Really cool that he's actually still learning new stuff despite having mastered total concentration breathing constant. Like, it's so cool that he continuously learns new things despite mastering other things. It's interesting, and it shows you just how in-depth this world building really is in this show. And while the passengers did survive, there were injuries, so even despite getting stabbed by that conductor, Tanjiro tells Inosuke to go help him to safety, because he has a busted leg. And obviously Inosuke questions this, because this is the guy that literally put Tanjiro in this immobilization position, But Tanjiro, having that empathy at his very core, quite literally, he manages to convince Inosuke to help this guy up as well as help others up to safety because the entire train crashed and derailed. And then Enmu laments on his failure and cries out in anguish that he was unable to fulfill his goal even after getting Muzan's power, as he withers away and dies. Which means that now the entire lower Kizuki is dead. All of them. Crazy how short of a time that took to kill all those demons, man. Like, damn. And just when it looks like the battle is over, then Rengoku ends up saving Tanjiro from a new demon, Akaza, engaging in one last fight by himself, with Tanjiro unable to help due to his injuries and Inosuke being unable to even keep up with either of them. And now we get to the part that I was dreading talking about with this, and it's not because it's a bad thing. In fact, I think it's one of the best scenes I've seen in anime, but just because it's one of those scenes that rips your fucking heart out. Like, not only because we thought that after Enmu everything was done and over with, and then this other demon just randomly appears out of nowhere, someone from the upper Kizuki, but also because it results in the death of the first Hashira. The first ever Hashira death in the entire show. Not only showing how powerful the upper Kizuki is, but also showing that even the Hashira are not immortal. And the battle is amazing. Like, the battle, probably my new favorite battle in the entirety of this franchise so far, regardless of outcome. But keep in mind, have not seen the other arcs after Mugen Train yet, so that might change, I don't know. But for right now, this is my favorite fight in the show. After an epic battle, Rengoku is impaled by Akaza's arm, signaling that his end is near, because it literally goes through his front and out his back and apparently punctured his solar plexus. Medical nerds, you can make your own conclusions on that one. Point is, it's really, really bad. And as Rengoku feels his life fading, Rengoku thinks back to his last moments with his mom, who was dying of an illness, and talks about how she was so proud of him, of everything that he's done, and that she is proud to have been his mom. And propelled by that undying love for his mother in his final moments, Rengoku musters up one last bit of strength and begins to cut through Akaza's neck. Then Akaza tries to escape, only to find that his punch was dodged and his arm is still stuck in Rengoku's chest. Like, he literally can't pull it out, as the sun is coming up in the background. Then that's when Tanjiro and Inosuke rush in to try to give him that one last push that he needs to decapitate this demon. Like, he literally has the sword halfway through Akaza's neck. But, unfortunately, just by the literal skin of his teeth, Akaza rips his arms off, regenerates, and runs away. But not before Tanjiro throws his sword using his Hinokami Kagura to impale him through the back. However, even with this, Akaza manages to escape because he missed the head. And Tanjiro yells out in anguish that Rengoku won the battle despite the outcome, and that Akaza is nothing but a fucking coward. And hearing his voice break, especially Zach Aguilar's performance in the dub on this scene, it had me freaking crying. It was so freaking sad, man. Speaking of sad, now we gotta talk about Rengoku's death. Here we go. Rengoku calls Tanjiro over, wishing to speak to him one last time before he dies. Rengoku tells Tanjiro that he has finally accepted Nezuko as an ally after having seen her firsthand defending humans against the internal Enmu tentacles on the train. And he also tells Tanjiro that whenever he doubts himself, to set his heart ablaze. To keep going, to keep living no matter what. With his wisdom dispense and his mom's spirit literally waiting for him on the other side, Rengoku gives one last smile and then dies from his injuries as the severed arm of Akaza disintegrates in the sunlight, causing all of his internal organs and blood to spill out around him, ending his life. Now, not only is it shocking, considering the fact that we literally just met this guy in the last arc, but it's also shocking because this is a Hashira. This is like one of the highest ranking members in the entire Demon Slayer Corps dead. Like, that is really just a blow to the confidence of our heroes and showing how the Slayer Corps, even with their highest ranked members, they are not invincible. And that they can literally die at any time. The three Slayers grieve the fallen Hashira as his dead body just sits there right in front of them. And even Inosuke, as much as he denies it, cries in anguish through his boar mask. Yeah, even Inosuke mourns this guy's death. And if that's not heart-wrenching enough, then we have to have the crow tearing up as he's flying away. And the rest of the crows from the other Hashira alert the rest of the Hashira of their fallen comrade. And the heartbreak that you see, especially from Shinobu and Mitsuri, it breaks your heart, man. And the little ending monologue that Kagaya gives to Rengoku as a eulogy at the end of the movie, also foreshadowing his own death that's going to happen later. Yeah, I kind of got spoiled on that. It ends the movie and the arc on a very somber note. Now, I usually give movies, especially, a lot of balls for not having the usual everything is happy ending. Because not only is it so very common in a grand majority of movies, but also because it shows, I'm trying to think of the word. It shows that the creators have balls. There. That's the way I'm going to put it. It shows that the creators have balls and they're not afraid to finally end you with one final gut punch, despite the adventure being over. Now, I'm not saying this is the first movie to do this. It's far from the first. I can name 4 or 5 other movies that have done this particular kind of thing, ending on a very somber and depressing note. But, especially for the first ever theatrical release in this franchise, no one saw that coming. Hell, before I even recorded this video, I was literally watching reactions to this death online because I couldn't stop crying, dude. Like, it ripped my fucking heart out. It was so hard to watch. But in the good way, not in like an, oh, it's so terrible and cringe way. Like, it's, like, it deeply affects your soul kind of way. Like, yes, we may not have known Rengoku for very long. We only knew him for one arc and most of a movie, and that's it. But the impact that he left with his death, not to mention the final scenes that we have with him, and his final struggle against Akaza, it immediately makes you feel for this guy, as his life literally drains out of him. So, that is everything that happens in the Mugen Train movie. Needless to say, it's a lot, and it's definitely going to be very shocking for first-time viewers that it ends on such a somber, crushing note. But I give this show a lot of credit for not only going with the usual everything is happy ending, like throwing that out the window, but also having the balls to kill off such a high-ranking character. Usually you have to wait a while to actually see like big name characters like that start to die. But this is not one of them. This is one where you see them die in the very first movie of this series. As an original movie, I'm not counting the recap movies because they're literally just compilations of the arcs from the previous season. So, once again, no written review for you. I'm going to have to work on all of those tonight after I'm done recording, editing, and uploading everything. So, off the cuff final thoughts. I can see why this movie was such a big deal when it came out, and I was blown away by its pure quality. The voice acting, the writing, the animation, the action, the characters, the storytelling, and that gut punch ending. Like, this is a damn good movie, man. Honestly, my one and only problem is that it takes a while to get going. Like, the first 5-10 minutes, it does kind of feel like filler. But once it gets going, it does not stop. And just like the Mugen Train itself, it doesn't stop until it literally derails. And no, not because of problems or anything like that, but derails more so because of how it literally sets the much darker tone that this show is going to continue to develop as it goes on into its next arcs. Because from what I've seen from little clips and stuff online, the next few arcs in this series are some of its darkest, some of its bloodiest, and some of its absolute most grisly. Those being the Entertainment District arc, which we're going to talk about next time, the Swordsmith Village arc, and the Hashira training arc. And then, of course, Infinity Castle, where we're going to be getting a lot of major character deaths. I'm not going to say who, for those that haven't read the manga, but if you've read the manga, you know who does and doesn't die. I'll just leave it like that. So, yeah, that's all my thoughts on Mugen Train. It is an incredible movie that has earned all its praise and then some. It's going right up there with the best anime movies of all time for me, right up there with DBS Broly, right up there with Akira, right up there with all of those. Like, it is an incredible film, man. Right up there with MHA2 Heroes. Like, it's an incredible film, and I can see why it is one of the highest grossing anime movies of all time. Again, right up there with DBS Broly, in some ways. And because of what I already know is happening with the sub-release of Infinity Castle, no doubt that Infinity Castle Part 1 is going to very shortly be joining that list of highest grossing anime movies of all time. And I mean, how the heck can it not be? It's the beginning of the end of the entire franchise. So, yeah, that's pretty much all I've got. My final verdict for the Demon Slayer Mugen Train movie and the saga, you can count this for both if you so wish, is a 9 out of 10. Not a 9.5, it's not my favorite, but it is incredible. And I will say, Rengoku vs. Akaza, best fight in the entire franchise that I've seen so far. So, highly recommend checking this movie out. If you love Demon Slayer, you pretty much have to watch it. And honestly, you can decide whether or not you want to watch the movie or the arc. You still get the same content either way, it's just that one has more backstory than the other. So, okay, I think I've talked your ear off long enough about this one. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more videos like this almost every single day. Feel free to leave me your reactions to Rengoku's death in the comments down below, because this is a spoiler review, so I don't mind spoilers in my comments this time. And I just want to know how it impacted you, or how it shocked you seeing this movie for the first time. Because it sure as hell shocked the hell out of me, even after the internet spoiled it. So, yep, that's all I've got. Thank you guys so much for watching. Keep on slaying, and I'll see you guys next time when we continue our look through Demon Slayer, when we get to one of the 3 final arcs of the show, with the Entertainment District arc. And like I said before, we have a lot of long arcs coming now, Because Entertainment District is 9, Swordsmith Village is 10, and Hashira is 8. So we're going to be getting much longer arcs from here on in, and that means that the reviews are probably going to be longer too, no matter how much I try to shorten them. So just prepare yourself for that as we enter the home stretch, if you will, of Slayer-Tember. Yeah, it's not going to last the whole month because I'm going saga by saga, not episode by episode. So, yeah, I'll see you guys next time for the Entertainment District arc. Until then, thanks for watching, and keep slaying.